Hello and welcome to the live stream. My name is JT and you're watching Black Box Trading. It's been a week. It's been at least a week since we have done the live stream last, and Bitcoin is ripping. Just as we said last time when we were on the show, we were saying Bitcoin's bullish. We're in all-time high territories. We are in phase 2 of the bull market. There's nothing but upside from here. If you were in the private Discord, you probably got the trade signal that basically nailed the bottom of that dip. Or if you've been following me on Twitter, we've been sharing the entries of that dip at 100K. We nailed it, like within a couple $100. I'll actually let's just now I'm not going to go ahead and claim that I do this on the regular. We do have good entries, but this is definitely one for the history books. This is definitely one of our best entries ever, and it's all thanks to this little guy right here. This is the green diamond. So for those who are unfamiliar with the alphanumerics indicator, a green diamond on the 4-hour inside of the green wave, which is what we're looking at right here, is one of our strongest signals when you are in a bull market. We have maintained the bias that we're in a bull market since 18K, and nothing's changed. We're in a bull market. We have much higher levels to go to, and as a result, when I saw this dip right after a new all-time high, just coming down and retesting the prior all-time highs, green diamond, green wave, it was a no-brainer. We got in at 100,475, and the low for that candle is 100,353. So like just a couple less than $200 difference from the actual low here. Fabulous entry. I think that this is just the beginning. I think that this was the final dip before the acceleration phase of Bitcoin. As per usual, I'm incredibly bullish. I couldn't be happier with the price structures that I'm seeing here on Bitcoin. And shout out to the bears out there. You know, you guys need a little bit of recognition and some condolences to your losses. I hope you are not sidelined. I certainly hope you are not wasting your time trying to short this stuff. Nothing stops this train. We're going nowhere but up. Yeah, so this is all part as a result of this weekly candle close. If you guys missed it or you weren't paying attention, this is a fantastic retest. We retested the weekly high, came down, got wicked down to that entry at around 100,500. And immediately got bought back up. The bulls are definitely in control. And soon after closing that candle, the day after closing that candle, we had a meteoric rise, currently up. Well, on this candle, it doesn't sound that impressive, only 3.5% up on the weekly candle. But this is going to result in a new highest weekly close in Bitcoin's history. We have 5 days left in this candle, and in my opinion, we are not going to be at 109 at the weekly close. We are going to probably be at 112, maybe even new all-time highs above that. So it's looking good. It's looking good. And this is lockstep with what we were saying here on the monthly chart. If you guys remember, we were saying back here in March is going to be the bottoming candle. April was going to be the month of repairing that trend. May was going to be the acceleration. And that's exactly what we got. We got the acceleration, and then June is going to be the breakout candle. That's the big move. If anybody is showing you bearish shit right now, unfollow them. Like seriously, I can't find anything to be bearish about. There's nothing to be bearish about. And all of the bears are preying upon fear. You know, if you look at the headlines, if you look at the news, if you look at everything that's happening, you know, geopolitically from the newsreel, sure, you'll get scared, but don't waste your time with that. You're never going to make money on a headline. Ever. You are never going to make money on a headline. You need to look at the truth. You need to look at the facts. What are the facts? These are green candles. These are bullish indicators. This is bullish alignment. There is nothing bearish in the charts whatsoever. If you disagree with me, I encourage you to make a case. Make a case. What are you seeing that I am not seeing? Because I see nothing but bullish stuff. Let's just catch up briefly with the chat. Let me know if you guys are bullish or bearish. Type bull in the chat if you're bullish, bear in the chat if you're bearish. Let's catch up with the chat. Good evening, Fundy AU. Average entry of 103, 80% take profit at 105, last 10%. Great entry, but man, I personally feel you went a little aggressive on the TP, but you know, you're following the price action that we've seen most recently. So there's nothing wrong with that. You know, that strategy has served very well in the short term that we've seen recently. So I totally understand where you're coming from by taking such an aggressive take profit. My personal bias is we got higher to go. We got higher to go. Coin margin, well done. Stacking sats. If you guys want coin margined futures, get a BitGet account. Here's the position live right here. We're about $218,000 long here, 2 Bitcoin long, currently sitting at $14,000 of P&L, but that's Bitcoin denominated profit. So it's 13 million sats of profit here on Bitcoin on the BitGet exchange. For those who don't know, the difference between coin margined futures and tether margined futures, tether margin is great because it's predictable. It's where most people trade. You know, if Bitcoin makes a 10% move up, you get 10% more dollars. It's very cut and dry. A lot of people love it. It's, you know, 90% of the volume goes into tether margin. But for traders like myself and traders like Matt and a couple other people, noteworthy traders in the group, we always trade coin margin. Because we're not here to make dollars. We're here to stack sats. We are taking our ability to trade this market and we are using that skill set to accumulate more Bitcoin. So everything that we do is with that end goal in mind. We are always going to use coin margin because if you get a 10% move in Bitcoin, if you're on coin margin, you get 10% more Bitcoin. So if you're one Bitcoin long and Bitcoin moves up, if Bitcoin's at 100K and it goes to 110 and you're 1 Bitcoin long, if you were on Tether, you would have $10,000. If you're on Bitcoin, you have 0.1 Bitcoin, and that 0.1 Bitcoin is now worth 10% more. So it's an exponential curve. I do have a video on the channel for you to check out. I don't have it pulled up because I wasn't planning on talking about coin margin, but yeah, Fund AU. Awesome. I was following the bots with manual trades. That's great, man. That's great. Like totally acceptable. That's actually why we feed signals into the Discord for free. If you don't want to use the bots, you don't have to use the bots. Some people like that manual approach. Some people want to be more aggressive with the TPs. Some people want to be less aggressive with the TPs or not take the TPs at all. You know, they want to have that fluidity, but they also want to have at least a strategy in terms of signaling. So that's exactly why we feed the signals to the Discord. If you guys aren't already in the Discord, by the way, just go to blackbox.pro. That is BLKBöX.pro. Sign up for your free Bitcoin trading bot today. This also grants you access into our trading Discord. So for those that feel that they would be closer aligned with the Fundy AU who wants to take the signals but trade them manually, we have that ability as well. So definitely sign up. It's 100% free. There's no strings attached. We don't make money from you. We make money from the exchange. We are partnered with BitGet. We are partnered with Bybit, and we are partnered with Blowfin. We get a micro transaction of each one of your trades. These are fees that you are already paying. If you are trading on Binance, if you are trading on OKX, if you are trading on any centralized exchange, you are paying trading fees. That is how we make money. So I just want to be upfront with that. We get a percentage of those fees, but it comes at no extra cost to you. It's 100% free. So details down in the description below. Let's go back into the TA here. So we're looking pretty good here on the 4 hour. We are temporarily below the 7, but if we take a look at the daily, we kind of, oh no, not the daily. Let's take a look at the 12 hour. Oh no, where did I see? I thought we were bouncing off an MA, but I guess not. So we are below the 7 currently. We do want to reclaim that to maintain a strong trending environment. If we get a couple 4 hour candles closing below, then we might need to come back and revisit, probably here on the daily, come back and revisit maybe 105. Apparently there's a gap down, a CME gap at 105. Now, personally, I've seen this play out many times. Like I know Bitcoin's movements very, very well. I'm well versed in how Bitcoin moves. And based off of the fact that we're looking at this macro retest breakout all-time high kind of situation, I personally don't think that we're going to be coming back down to 105. I think that the bid on Bitcoin is really strong right now. And, I'm not saying that this is it. We could totally come down a little bit lower. I just wouldn't be stacking orders at 105 because everybody's going to be stacking orders at 105. You're definitely going to want to front run at least 107 or something, or even higher. I think the bid on Bitcoin right now is extremely strong. Don't underestimate the bid on Bitcoin. It's looking really, really good. Now, how does that relate to some of these Bitcoin treasury companies? Let's take a look at MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy is, so there's an interesting thing happening in the markets right now, and we've kind of had some tongue-in-cheek commentary in the Discord in case you missed it, in regards to kind of how stocks are now the new shitcoins. This is a trend that's going to continue as the Bitcoin price increases and more degeneracy goes into the stock market and more of these Bitcoin treasury companies pop up. You're going to see more and more of these quite literally shitcoin stocks. They're going to be shit stocks on the stock market that their only claim to fame is that they are a Bitcoin treasury company, and they are just going to try and entice the speculative herd, the crypto tourists, the Bitcoin tourists over to their stocks. And I anticipate a full-blown, altcoin season or a mania phase to occur on the stock market. Why do I think it's going to happen on the stock market? Because that is the dominant narrative right now. Bitcoin treasury companies are the dominant narrative. Bitcoin mining stocks are a dominant narrative. Financialization of Bitcoin on Wall Street is a dominant narrative. So, and then the other thing too is a lot of people, way more people have apps like Robinhood. They have Fidelity accounts. They have Webull. The accessibility to the stock market is so much greater than the accessibility of cryptocurrency exchanges or crypto wallets, or the learning curve that comes along with actually trading, these cryptocurrencies. There's a bit of a learning curve. A lot of people, you might have forgotten what it was like when you were new, but, these people already trade stocks. They're already there. They've got their Bank of America account connected to Fidelity, and they're ready to buy MicroStrategy at the drop of a hat. So we're going to see kind of a shitcoin cycle really happen on the stock market, in my opinion. Now, that doesn't mean that we're not going to see a altcoin season, because there's always going to be trickle down effects because of the mania. The mania is going to bring liquidity all over the market, but you're definitely going to see a dominant narrative coming on Wall Street. So MicroStrategy, it hasn't, it's kind of performing a little bit like a shitcoin here. Whereas, you know, Bitcoin's up at breaking all-time highs and making moves here, really strong technical uptrending structure. MicroStrategy is lagging a little bit. So it hasn't quite seen that breakout. It hasn't seen a new all-time high. So as far as Bitcoin's strength, Bitcoin is leading the charge like it does with all altcoins. And then the altcoins play catch up. So MicroStrategy is looking like it's falling under that category of kind of that altcoin structure. Taking a look at GameStop, we have confirmation that they are holding Bitcoin, and the attention on GameStop has not quite happened yet. There was a big spike on the initial announcement of the intentions that got slammed right back down. So there's still a lot of supply on GameStop, but I mean, it's a pretty clean chart. Otherwise, look at this. It's just clean. It's super clean. It's a rounded bottom. So from this point on, not financial advice, but if you wanted to take a position in GameStop, it's going to trend to the upside. It may not blast off right away. That's one of the characteristics of a rounded bottom. But this is entering into an uptrending environment, which is what you want to be when you're taking a position in a stock. You actually don't want to be in a stock that's moving fast, because if it's moving fast, everybody's in. This is moving slow. It hasn't been oversaturated with the herd just yet. So if you are a value investor in the stock market, of which I am not, full disclosure, but if you are the type to buy stocks, then it's looking like a good one to get. I don't touch the stock market, so don't ask if I have any positions in stocks. I don't. They're denominated in dollars. I don't do anything denominated in dollars. I only buy positions denominated in Bitcoin. Bullish. Bigfoot is bullish. Jasper, hello. MB, is your AMX indicator set to SMA? I believe so, yes. AMX is on SMA. And our bull box indicator is set to EMA. It should be set to SMA as the default. Yeah. MA type SMA. You can set it to EMA as well if you're going to be using it on longer time frames, higher time frames, which is how we use the alphanumerics indicator. It's kind of, we're hanging out on the weekly, we're hanging out on the daily, the 3-day, we're on higher time frames. Keep it on SMA. But if you're going to be dropping it down to smaller time frames like the 4-hour, the hourly, the 15-minute, maybe you've come up with a different strategy on those smaller time frames, then feel free to bring it to the EMA, which is going to give you a more reflexive moving average. So it's dealer's choice on how you want to handle that. All right. Speaking of altcoins, let's take a look at how the rotation is doing with Bitcoin dominance. So we actually have a red candle today. Now, I don't think that this candle is going to end red. We still have 5 days left in this candle. Bitcoin dominance is continuing to climb. I think that Bitcoin's price is going to continue to climb for the rest of the week. I think that it is going to outperform the performance of altcoins for the rest of the week. I am still watching out for that move up to at least the top of the channel with an extended target hitting into the 70% dominance range. A lot of people get angry when I say that, but forget the target. It doesn't matter. This is what I would like to see. This is what I'm looking for. It doesn't have to happen. But the important thing for anybody with 2 eyeballs to make note of is the fact that we are in an uptrend. Okay. Don't fight the trend. We are in an uptrend. The trend is your friend until it ends. Has this uptrend ended? No. Should you be buying altcoins? No. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. Believe me, I am a YouTuber making daily content. The last thing I want is to poo-poo on altcoins. If I want my channel to grow, I want to be bullish on altcoins. So I'm not here to just be counter narrative. I'm not here to be counter trade. I'm not here to piss you off saying that your altcoins are a bad investment right now. I'm here to give you the facts that I'm seeing in the charts, and the facts are the facts. This trend is in an uptrend. It is not altcoin season. I will be the first one to tell you when it is altcoin season, because I cannot wait for me to be making bullish content on altcoins, because it's going to get me so much attention as we prepare for a 30x in the altcoins as we drop from 70% dominance down to 40% dominance. So I'm not here to be your enemy. I know people get upset when I say it's not time to buy alts. It's not. It's just not. I'm sorry. I'm not going to tell you everything that you want to hear. I'm going to tell you what you need to know. Now, the spicy chart here. This is the dollar. The dollar is getting hammered, pummeled. Now, we are at a support level. We're at a very, very important support level. Are we going to get a bounce? This is the question. This is what we are really wondering about. Now, when I look at Bitcoin's strength, to me, it says the dollar is going to continue to fall, because Bitcoin just looks so strong. It looks so poised for an impulse to the upside, that to me, that just leads into the fact that I think the dollar is just weak, and there's really no plans to strengthen the dollar. Now, we might see a little bit of a slowdown, because this has been a really, really brutal move to the downside for the dollar. So there could be some sort of a recovery that would result in a lower high, but I don't know. Bitcoin just looks ready to rip. And if Bitcoin's going to be ripping, that means the dollar is going to be falling. So it'll be interesting to see. Now, Bitcoin, of course, can go up with the dollar going up as well. Now, if that happens, if we do see a breakout in Bitcoin, if we see higher prices in Bitcoin, if we see an all-time high break in Bitcoin while the dollar is climbing, whoa. That is strong. That is very, very strong Bitcoin. So if we see that, even better. It will mean that the price advance of Bitcoin will be slower than it would be if the price was falling. But if you see that, you know that Bitcoin is ready to melt faces, because it is climbing in the face of an uphill battle against the dollar. So anyways, another way that we can look at this too is gold. Gold doing gold things. Let's get off the month. Let's take a look at the weekly. Kind of forming a little bit of a bullish flag, not really doing too many tests. This is a really nice consolidation that we're looking at here. You know, you've basically got, at this point, I'm going to call it an ascending triangle, where you have a flat top and you've got an ascending set of lows. This is a healthy structure. This is kind of setting up for another impulse up. Gold will be repriced to a new level, maybe $3,800, $4,000 for the price of gold. Now, what invalidates that is us losing this level. So if we fall below this level, this upward sloping line of support here that's drawn from these ascending lows, so a move like this, that would at least indicate a slowdown, and we might get into a larger consolidation from that point. But until that breach happens, this structure looks decent to me. It's bullish. And if you see the dollar, if you see the strength of the DXY continue to fall, you will see gold rally. M2 money supply is continuing to climb. Just the stars are aligning. Like, we are seeing a lot to be excited about for the price of Bitcoin. Not great for the dollar. You know, if most of your net worth is denominated in dollars, you've took a beating for sure. You've lost, a lot of people don't really think about this, but in the last, since the beginning of this year, if your net worth is denominated in dollars, which most people's are, They measure their net worth in dollars. They think, I have, $250,000. I have $1.2 million. Like, that's how they think. If that's the way that you think, you have 10% less purchasing power than you did at the beginning of the year. So unless your investments exceed 10%, if your investments are at 10%, you're break even for the year so far. Now, the year isn't that, we're in June, so we are getting on, but just take that into consideration, because a lot of people don't think about that. Yes, you have X amount of dollars, but since the beginning of the year, those dollars have lost 10%. That's a big hit. It's a big, big hit. And the smart money knows this. So if smart money continues to see a devaluation of the dollar, if the Fed starts to signal to the market, we're going to devalue, if the printer turns on and the rates stay low, the dollar is going to plummet, and it may even fall out of this channel. Now, if it falls out of this channel, you better hold assets. That's all I got to say, is you better hold assets. If we fall out of this channel, if you're an American holding US dollars and we fall out of this channel, you better get you some Bitcoin, my friend, because Bitcoin's going up and your dollars are going to be worth nothing. It's going to be a very, very sketchy scenario to be in, a scenario that is going to be worse than the low here of 2008 financial crisis. So not going to be doomer here. As you can tell, I'm still very, very bullish on the overall markets, but yeah, there's some funny business going on with the dollar, so do be aware of that. Mike Max hope alts rip by September. I want a good birthday this year. I think we can go ahead and just assume that you're going to have a banger birthday there, Mike. I've said multiple times on the channel that I expected the acceleration for Bitcoin to be in May. We are experiencing that acceleration in Bitcoin, and that the altcoin season will start somewhere near kind of mid to late June. I still anticipate that to be the case. So you've got, at the end of June is when I anticipate altcoin season to kind of begin to start. So you'll have all of July, you'll have all of August, and I think you'll have a very happy September, my friend. That's, not financial advice. That's just what I'm seeing in the charts. That's what I believe. But I've been right so far. This cycle. I've been pretty bang on with the macro moves. Aave, we want to take a look at Aave. Yeah, we can take a look at a few alts. How are we doing on time? About halfway into the stream here. Before we go into Aave, let's take a look at some of the bigger alts. So we'll go ETH. Let's see how ETH BTC is doing. Where is our ETH? ETH BTC, how we doing? Actually breaking out of the flag, not looking too bad. Our bearish reign on ETH may be coming to an end. We have been incredibly negative for the price of Ethereum, and rightfully so. We have been right this whole time. People were quite angry. I lost a lot of my own audience shitting on ETH because last cycle I was a massive ETH bull. So I gained quite a lot of interest because of how deep I was in DeFi and the Ethereum ecosystem. And this year I've got nothing. I'm like, it's shit. It's bullshit. It's trading against Bitcoin to fucking zero. It's going nowhere. And we've been right. But it's looking like a recovery is just around the corner. This is looking good. We have come to a low of 1.7 million sats. For those who are looking at this chart being like, what the hell is he looking at? What is this chart? This is the Bitcoin comparative. Do not waste your time looking at the dollar chart unless you want to know what the price is in dollars, but don't look at the technicals on that chart. You can find the price, but don't do technicals. Use the Bitcoin pair. Until Ethereum is outperforming Bitcoin, it will continue to underperform Bitcoin. And I know that that's a very simple statement, but it's a very true statement. And the smart money in this space, the whales in this space, will pump your Ethereum bags to the fucking moon the moment that it begins to outperform Bitcoin. So if that's the criteria, if that is the metric for whales to start pumping your bags, why would you waste your time looking at the dollar pair? You need to look at the Bitcoin pair. As soon as that outperformance starts to take place, boom, we're off to the races. And in the short term, we have a little bit of a recovery, but this is still a downtrend. We have reclaimed the 7 on the week. That is a good sign. We need to reclaim the 30, and we need to really get above this level here at around 3 million sats. If we can reclaim the 3 million sats per ETH level, that's going to be a pretty strong signal to the market and the whales to take a position. But until that happens, it's we need to proceed with caution. I'm still thinking that we could see some sort of a double bottom or some retest of this general area. I'm not going to be so bearish. So let's say a retest down here somewhere I could see happening. But as it stands right now, Ethereum doesn't look that bad. It doesn't look that bad. And that's one of the few times that I have said that this entire bull market. So shout out to the Ethereum bulls. I'm no longer completely trash and shit talking your altcoin. ETH went home, as Ben Cohen would say. That's funny. Can you look at Sol? Yes, we will absolutely take a look at Sol. That's one of the big winners this cycle, I believe, moving forwards. I was looking at the Sats to BTC renaming proposal you talked about last stream. Super bullish stuff, but looks like not something that will pass for 5+ years, if ever. I'm not sure if it will take 5+ years. I do think that it is an absolute certainty that it will pass at some point. Yeah, for those who don't know, the proposal is saying that we should rename Sats to Bitcoin. So it's kind of like the ultimate one and done stock split, where if you have 1 Bitcoin, you will now have 100 million Bitcoin. And I think that this is kind of the way forwards. Bitcoin is already confusing enough for people, and the unit bias is a really big problem. It would just make so much more sense because it is Bitcoin. Like, the monetary units are Bitcoin, and the smallest monetary units are Satoshis. It's a little too confusing. Just call them Bitcoin. Just call them Bitcoin, because when you actually go out into the world and pay for stuff, 9 times out of 10, it's giving you the price in Sats. So just give me the price in Bitcoin, and we'll call it Bitcoin, and everybody will be happy, because Bitcoin won't be 100,000, 500,000, $1 million a coin. It removes that pressure from society to feel like, oh, I'm too late to Bitcoin, because no, you can buy 900 Bitcoin today for $1, right? Like, that's a lot easier to digest, but everything in Bitcoin moves slow. So you could be right. We could be looking at least 5 years. I'm a little bit more optimistic than that, but we will see. Jack Dorsey just started offering Bitcoin as a payment option on Square. If you start to see more merchant adoption, you will see more people getting familiar with Sats. We'll see. We'll see. I think that things in the right context could accelerate faster than we think, but we'll see. It's a big question mark right now. Sounds good, JT. You have been calling it top notch. Thank you, Mike. All right, let's take a look at Solana. Solana is the Ethereum of this cycle. Solana has been doing fantastic. Not recently, but from the phase 1, the initial phase out of the bull market, it's been doing phenomenal. Now, a lot of people are looking at this structure and they're saying, oh, Solana is now Ethereum. No, it's not. Sorry, just because a fractal looks the same doesn't mean it's the same. This is an entire bull market and bear market. This is phase 1 of a bull market. It's not the same. Yes, the fractals are the same. You're right there. There's no argument there, but it is not the same context whatsoever. And the recovery of Solana will be very, very powerful. And I think that Solana is going to be one of the big winners. Certainly it's going to be one of the bigger winners of the top 20 coins this cycle. If Bitcoin starts to take out all-time highs, we get a full-blown bull market, full-blown altcoin season, which I think is going to happen from now till the end of the year. At least I'm starting to lean more into the 2026 camp. So it's going to be good. You know, I have no worries. We're going to probably see all-time highs break here in Solana, which is very uncommon for an altcoin on the Bitcoin pair. Usually on the Bitcoin pair, you don't get an all-time high break. You get plenty of all-time high breaks on the dollar pair, but you don't get many on the Bitcoin pair because Bitcoin is so strong. So it would be one of the few coins to have ever achieved that. So looking forward to seeing if that comes to fruition, but we will monitor the situation for sure. Another one's going to be Cardano. Where's our Cardano? Cardano, where are you? Where are you? There you are. I'm blind. Cardano, certainly a laggard this cycle. It's one of the top 20 coins. We'll have to see. This one is not showing a lot of strength. There's not a lot of people who are interested in Cardano. So we will have to see how that one plays out. And then finally, the coin that I hate more than any other coin, and I'm sorry, I'm just never going to stop hating this coin. Maybe I'll pretend I like it during the altcoin season. But that's XRP. If all of a sudden I start loving on XRP, don't be fooled. I won't. We'll just do that for clicks and views. We are below the bearish line. If we are above this line, we are bullish. If we are below it, we are bearish. We are below it. Now, we are at the median line of this multiple cycle accumulation. So there is stuff to be excited about. If we do break out of this, there has been an incredible amount of accumulation for the price of XRP. But as it stands right now, we're in a no trade zone. You don't buy in the middle of a range. That's a no trade zone. You buy at the bottom. I think it's not going to go there. I think that's too low for where we are in the cycle right now. So I'd be waiting for acceleration breaking out of this channel, which you are giving up a lot of profits to do so, but that's just the way it is sometimes, man. You don't get to control the structure of the chart. That's a 66% move up in Bitcoin terms before I even become interested. If you're a bull, buy. I don't care. It's your money. Do what you want. All right, now we can take a look at some of the requests. Now, keep this in mind, ladies and gentlemen. Keep that in mind. We are not in altcoin season. So if I poo-poo on your project, it could just be because of timing. So we'll take a look at Aave BTC. Aave BTC looking okay, definitely not super strong. There are other assets that are getting a lot more attention, liquidity, and price action than Aave right now, but this is not bad. This is really not bad. You got kind of a double formation, a double bottom formation taking place right here. Boop, boop. The second low is a higher low. We have a low, a high, a lower high. All we need is a higher, a higher high, lower, a higher low. Oh, I'm just going to do that over again. We have a low, we have a high, we have a higher low. All we need is a higher high. There we go. We got it that time. Once you get a higher high, a break, a move above 3,800 sats. Is that right? No, 386,000 sats. That would be the clear indicator that Aave is outperforming the price of Bitcoin. That's going to be the point at which you become a buyer. So we took a look at comp. Why do you want to look at comp? Jeez Louise, dude, it's 2025. Don't waste your time with that. Comp BTC compound. Holy shit, I haven't heard that in forever. It's gross. I mean, there's just no volume here. bud. If you have a comp bag, if you're a bag holder from last cycle, I'm not saying sell. No, this is not the time to sell. If you're a bag holder from last cycle, hold your bag. If it was a large position of your portfolio, you might even want to double down. You know, it's not going to cost you much to double your bull market position. If you were holding comp back here during the bull market and now you're down here, it costs you pennies on the dollar for you to double your position. Not financial advice, but that just makes it so much easier for you to get back to where your valuation, your position value was when we were in the bull market. But as far as a new position, this is just not for me. No, I wouldn't recommend that anybody buy comp here. This is a dead coin. It's a zombie coin. It's a dead project. It's not going anywhere. The applications may still be running, but there's no point to actually hold the comp token. If it's a bag you're holding, just hold on. You're going to get a recovery on this bag. But as far as trading, I would just pass. It had a nice bounce up from zero. I'm not going to call this a nice bounce, dude. Like, that's not a nice bounce. Like, sure, yes, this teeny tiny infinitesimal candle is 25% right after a 12% candle. But like, sure. Not for me. I play the big swings and I play strength. For context, guys, like if something's going up 25%, of course you can make money in it. Okay. How are you nailing the bottom? How's the liquidity? What are the metrics that you're using to get in? Other than just, you know, oh, it went up 25%. Well, how are you able to identify that it was going to do that before it did that? And how do you know that it will continue to do that moving forwards? That's the stuff that, for me, I'm a Wyckoff trader. My core style of trading is Wyckoff. I know I don't do a lot of it here on the channel, but Wyckoff isn't necessarily a technical indicator. It's a method of selecting strong assets to become a market participant on. There's a very big difference. Wyckoff would never touch compound in a million years. It's just not worth his time. Richard D. Wyckoff would say, no, this stock, he would call it a stock because that's when it was all about stocks back then, is not showing strength, comparative strength inside of its sector. This is not something, you know, in all of DeFi, it's a weak asset. If you are in DeFi, go for strong assets. They need to be outperforming. And one of the strongest DeFi plays out there is the layer one Solana. So, you know, that's where I would be placing my chips. But, you know, you do you. There's no wrong answers, especially in a bull market. Well, like I said, I expect Bitcoin dominance to fall. I expect altcoin season to take off. And as a result, compound will go up. Guaranteed. 100%. It just won't go up as much as other opportunities in the market, like newer coins. FET BTC. This is another one. Geez, what a wild ride. Shout out to anybody that's been holding on to this thing. I could not imagine having multiple like 5-bagger moves and give it all back. Like what was this? Yeah, a 7-bagger, give it all back. These moves are ridiculous. 6-bagger, give it all back. 13-bagger, give it all back. Yeah, this is not something you want to hold on to, that's for sure. You can certainly make some money on some of these marketing impulses, but my God, what a tricky asset to hold on to. You can also see the overall volumes are declining. Yeah, good luck. Best of luck to you. There's nothing that I can really pull from something like this. It's just not something that I'm interested in, other than the fact that when you are down in this general area, you could consider yourself in the buy zone. And after it goes up 2 or 3x, you get out because it's going to go right back down to the buy zone. So you could just cycle through it that way. It's definitely an oscillator. It's not something that's trending. It's not something that's strong. You reckon buying Sol with my ETH is a good idea right now? I'm getting a buy signal in the 3-day, not asking for financial advice, of course. Yeah, but you are. You think it is. That is financial advice. You're asking me for financial advice. You're asking if you should buy Sol with your ETH. You're asking me to sell, if you should sell your ETH for Sol. All I will say is that you need to think. I wouldn't make any moves right now. There's no moves that I would be making. I'm not making any moves in altcoins whatsoever. I've been very Bitcoin heavy. I've been very Bitcoin vocal. And if you had listened to that advice, you're doing phenomenally well. You are doing phenomenally well if you have been highly Bitcoin focused and not messing around with altcoins. When the altcoin season occurs, you will take positions in coins that you need to make up your mind on right now. Decide what your altcoin portfolio is going to look like. Do not allocate into your altcoin portfolio just yet. Just decide what it is going to look like. What are the ratios? What are the percentages? How much of a position compared to your core Bitcoin position is the altcoin position going to represent? And just make those decisions, because the point at which this chart changes and the point at which we do actually enter into altcoin season, you will then initiate those positions, hold it for the duration of the altcoin season, which will probably be a move from 70% down to 40%. That's it. It'll take, a couple of months. And that's it. So I'm not going to tell you which one is going to outperform, because I don't know which one is going to outperform. Solana has shown an exceptional, is that right? Exceptional amount of strength when compared to Ethereum so far this cycle. Now, if Ethereum gets a stock market, like if Ethereum gets treasury companies happening on the stock market and Solana doesn't, well, that really flips the script, right? And these are the things that you cannot predict. So if you want to take a position in Solana, do so. If you want to take a position in Ethereum, do so. Just decide now, right now, like, what are the ratios going to be? What are you more bullish on? And if your thesis is incorrect, are you going to change midway through? My advice is set it and forget it. Whatever you decide today, leave it the fuck alone, because phase 2 is quick, phase 2 is violent, and phase 2 is final. This is the last chance. Once phase 2 is done, you will not get another opportunity for another 4 to 5 years. So play it safe. Just if you like both, have exposure to both. If you can't decide, have equal exposure to both. That's about as good as I can do. Is Uni still relevant in your opinion? So the Uniswap protocol has always been relevant, and the Uni token has always been irrelevant. Do you know why? Because you can go to Uniswap right now and you can swap some ETH for DAI, and at no point during that transaction are you ever going to need Uni tokens. And this is something that you should always think about when you're looking at these tickers. What is it for? What does this do? For Uniswap, nothing. What does Uniswap tokens do for you? Absolutely nothing. It's a centrally controlled foundation run out of the Cayman Islands or some shit. It's a foundation. The core devs manage it. They have the Uniswap token as like a governance token, but really they call the shots. So what kind of a governance is that? You don't really have control over it. And you don't need the Uni token to use the Uni app. So it's completely useless. It's a completely useless token. And for the record, when you do that method of like, is this relevant, blah, 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 99.99% of the coins out there don't do anything. Solana, I'm really bullish on. Why? Because for you to scam people with useless tokens, for you to scam people with useless NFTs, for you to create DeFi applications, for you to do this, that, the other, anything that you want to do on Solana, requires the Solana token. So there's intrinsic demand for the Solana token. Uni, no, you don't need it. It lives on the Ethereum blockchain. It's a governance token for a free and open protocol that anybody can use without using the token. It's nothing. So, you know, for me, I tend to hold positions in stuff that at least have a reason to hold the underlying token. There has to be some sort of actual utility that is not governance, because governance is bullshit. Like, it needs to be actually, you need the token to do something. And if it doesn't fall under that criteria, me personally, I typically don't do it. So it's never been relevant, long story short. But let's take a look. Let's see. Yeah, something's going on with Ethereum DeFi. I think just because a tiny little bit of life is coming into Ethereum, a lot of these Ethereum projects are beginning to like come back to life here. So Uni has a little bit of a move, 25% move, very similar to what we saw in Aave, Compound. So there is whispers of hope with these old Ethereum DeFi protocols. But at the end of the day, what is this? It's a downtrend. It's a downtrend below macro support. There's no volume. It's certainly not something that I would be taking a position in personally. All right. Real quick, let's take a look at Bitcoin before we get out of here. So Bitcoin's still hovering around that 108, definitely below the 7 simple moving average. Sorry, 7 simple moving average here on the 4-hour. Do we come down and retest the 30 down at 106? That would kind of get us within the realm of closing that CME gap that seems to have a narrative right now. But ultimately, the bid is strong. The bid is on. It's time for up only. We're entering up only conditions for Bitcoin. We will likely, in my opinion, see an all-time high break by the end of this weekly candle. So how we get there, it's entirely up to Bitcoin. Maybe it takes a day or two. Maybe we have another weekend pump into the Sunday close. Who knows? But overall, I'm incredibly bullish on the price of Bitcoin, and there will be trickle-down effects of that into the altcoins, as altcoin season is just around the corner, coming very soon, coming to a degen near you. Yeah, that's it. That's all the time I have for today. If you guys enjoyed the content, please leave it a like. Don't forget to subscribe. It does help the channel out quite a bit. Please fight against dead internet theory. I am a real person providing real content on the internet in a world filled with bots, AI, and bullshit. Hit the like, make sure that the algorithm knows who the real people are. We got to fight against our AI overlords already into the AI world here. And then go to blackbox.pro, BLKBöX.pro. Sign up for your free Bitcoin trading bot today. That gives you free access to our trading Discord, where we are sharing our live trades, entries, exits, take profits, anything that you need to know about trading crypto, whether you are an investor, a swing trader, or a scalper. It's all for you right there for free. Go to blackbox.pro for more info. Until next time, please trade safe.